Welcome back to the league that means nothing on Go Again Gaming.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you may be. You are watching The League That Means Nothing here on Go Again Gaming. My name is Kiki, and I am joined by Elaine.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Today we have a fantastic game, I hope, between two of the more mid-rangey late game kind of decks. We have Bravo as played by Tom, and Florian as played by Trevor. Do you have any sort of ideas about how you think this game could go?
No, I don't really play either of these heroes. So I mean, I don't know. Like in my experience, it's pretty easy to get blown up by Florian on Arcane Damage if the Florian is doing that really effectively. I only see one AB on the Bravo side, I believe. Yeah, just some null rune gloves. So maybe we'll see a little bit more aggressive play from the Bravo. But then again, Florian can block really effectively. So I'm interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, of course. Both of these heroes are known for their blocking prowess. So I imagine it's going to be quite a back and forth kind of game. Neither deck goes super wide. So I don't think we're going to have like these huge 4 or 5 chain link kind of turns. But who knows? Could be wrong. You know, we are looking at a non-scepter build of this Florian deck, so it could be on a channel mount heroic kind of go again situation with Ravenous Rebel and such, but let's just play it and see how it goes.
This episode, League That Means Nothing, is brought to you by Invasion Comic Books, a comics and collectibles shop out of Canada, specialising in current and older books, but also stocking Warhammer, D&D, Funko Pops, Magic, Flesh and Blood, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but also some retro games as well across Sega, Nintendo, and PlayStation. Now, for viewers of the League That Means Nothing, you got some cracking discount codes here. We got TLTMN10 for 10% off all of your Flesh and Blood singles, and we've got TLTMN Crew 10 for 10% off Sealed Crucible of War. So that's TLTMN 10 for 10% off Fab singles, and TLTMN Crew for 10% off Sealed Crucible of War. Make sure you go and check them out. Invasion Comic Books out of Canada.
Okay, so here we are with the game the players have just drawn up, and as I've mentioned, there is a Reaping Blade on the Florian side. The equipment loadout is kind of what we expect here with the Face Purgatory, and on the left-hand side, we have one piece of Arcane Barrier, as you pointed out. Now, interesting to note, first thing I notice is that there's a tunic on the Bravo side as opposed to the tonic plating. Okay, so it looks like the Florian player is just trying to get Earth cards in the discard pile, and that did look like the channel of the Millennium Tree as opposed to Mount Heroic. So that Arcane Barrier 1 won't be enough to stop all the arcane damage from the rune chants coming later in the game, should that come out.
We just have well, there you go. Channel of the Millennial Tree right there.
There we go.
Should that come out? It's coming out.
It's coming out. And we've got the Earth already in the discard pile for the first Decompose later on. We've got the Earth in the pitch zone. Interesting to note that there is the Germinate still in the deck. So this is a pre-ban deck list so far. But we are still using the Reaping Blade despite Scepter being legal.
Got an Oasis Respite and a Blue Staunch Response, it looks like. It's a little bit hard to see the color. Also a beautiful Marvel Florian.
Mm.
They're kind of really shiny decks, actually, now that I'm looking at it.
Of course, I imagine these heroes are quite popular or quite favored amongst these players. That was an awkward pause on my part. So we're getting a sink below on the Anathos here for 4. We don't have 2 cards in the pitch zone. It looks like we're just thinking on the sink below here.
Yeah, I think that.
Not the art I originally recognized. We have the Pro Tour, or World Tour London sink below there. Little tea and biscuit action.
Again, with the really beautiful shiny decks.
Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it.
Arsenal and pass backs. Let me see what kind of response we have with the Florian. Still with the Millennial Tree up.
Really trying to make the most of this tree that we have aggressively here. And can we get a second Earth card on the pitch zone is the next question. With a full kind of hand this turn almost. There we go. I was going to say, I expect to see it.
Second card. A Summer's Fall. Leave you up enough in the graveyard to decompose.
With no legal targets here for the Summer's Fall, it still gets a decompose just to kind of get that train going. And we're getting a huge 10 damage turn here. 4 arcane damage coming through. With that.
Pretty good turn for the Florian player. 10 damage turn, I believe. And keeping around the Millennial Tree for the next turn.
You have to be pretty happy with
this. It's a little hard to see what the block... What that block was. The truce, I believe. That was just put into the graveyard. Tunic to 3, very important.
Plays very impressively, not missed a tunic counter here.
Maybe. We have an out muscle going down on Bravo's side.
So there's 2 red cards in the pitch zone. This out muscle's coming in for 6. If it's not defended by a card with greater or equal power, this will gain go again. That 1 card in hand could suggest that there's an Anathos coming through, and Tom could be kind of bluffing. Maybe he's pretending like he doesn't have the blue to activate the Anathos here, but it could also just be an arsenal with the way that the tunic plus 2 reds were used on this out muscle.
Either way, 6 damage puts a little bit of pressure on. I don't think we'll see the Millennial Tree sticking around for 3 turns on the Florian side, so there's some decision points. Looks like just going to take it and throw the Anathos at.
And I was going to say, like, the fact that Tom blocked with a blue in the previous turn does highly suggest that there was another blue in hand there for this Anathos 4/6. So, we thought Trevor was doing well with a 10 damage turn last turn, but Tom's coming back with 12 right here.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, this is a really good turn to come back on after having to take some damage. It looks like a block with felling and then rootbound again.
Now, felling is
some more earth cards.
Felling is not a card you usually want to block with, which suggests to me that this might be a heavy red hand, potentially. There's a red card.
That's the 3rd Millennial Tree, correct? And another
That was
felling.
the 3rd Millennial Tree. And we have 2 floating here. It is interesting that because of the sheer amount of reds in Trevor's hand that turn, he could have chosen to block 3 less to keep the tree around for a 4th turn if he really wanted. But with the 2 resources there, this could suggest also a 2-cost decompose card, which is... But looks like he's content with just keeping it around just for this 1 turn here. Losing it this time, but still coming in with a 7 damage turn.
Yeah, I am very curious about what might be in Trevor's arsenal. I don't think I saw the card that was put into arsenal. I'm not sure if you did.
I
have
think it might have been, if I have to guess, it might be like a plow under where he could decompose it, but he's not getting the value from the decompose, so he chose to keep it for another time because of the lack of arsenal on Tom's side.
we have an imposing
Visage?
visage?
Visage. I don't know.
To go search for a showtime happening on the Bravo's side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
It's just a really good way to kind of get your auras in play without ending your turn. Most of Bravo's auras, or at least Showtime in particular, doesn't have go again, so the imposing visage is a way to kind of get around that, to get you the draw on your next turn.
and again with Anathos, pitching the card from the Showtime.
Pitching that blue Thunderquake. This is a very kind of Bravo kind of game we're seeing so far, where he's kind of content just blocking out, attacking with this overly efficient weapon, and kind of treading water until he can find the time to play the bigger, more impactful attacks. So far, we've seen one Spinal Crush, and that's been pitched, I believe.
I did see a Spinal Crush in the pitch. I think it was turn 1 or 2, really early on that the Spinal Crush was pitched.
So it could be trying to maybe set up a pitch stack kind of situation, but of course we just shuffled the deck, so that's gone out the window.
Now, is this all 3 Showtimes on the board right now?
Currently, yes.
I think so. Yeah, that's okay. It's a little small. It's a little hard to see. And a root-bound carapace block. Followed with well-grounded, which of course will prevent 2. Or
Now, we may see that well-grounded kind of punish later on. This was an attack with no on-hit effect, and well-grounded is a really good way to get around, dominate that Bravo could have. And Trevor here asking the question, Showtime is an aura, correct? And proceeds to get rid of that Showtime that Tom worked so hard to put into play. Getting it for 6 damage, and now that decompose counter, I believe, is at 7? Maybe 8? I didn't actually see what the last decompose was. But we're either online or very close to online for this Florian ability, and that's where the double rune shots are going to start coming in really handy.
yeah. Blocking it with a staunch response.
A card that's been around as long as I have. But as we see, we're kind of just seeing like this back and forth, treading the water set game from both players, really, leaking a little bit of damage here and there. Players just confirming what the pitch was there.
So second Spinal Crush. Just pitching it again though to come in with Titan's Fist.
Anathos.
Anathos, yeah. I feel like I've said. Is that the second time I've said Titan's Fist?
It's the first I've noticed.
Oh, well, my bad.
For what it's worth, it's also channeled the Millennium tree, not the Millennial, but you know, close enough.
You know,
I'm the
I
Millennial.
think I need glasses.
But yeah.
Millennial.
I don't actually know if the players hear the comments made by the players during this game, but Tom does say there's going to be a lot more of these 6s coming through.
Can you hear the game right now?
Yeah, can you not?
I can't hear the game. No.
Oh. It's been distracting me so much. It's really hard to hear both you and the game at the same time. What if I just mute the game altogether? And then...
Oh, well, I can't hear it anyway, so we've got a truce block here on this Anathos.
Okay. This is much more calming for my brain. I can't hear both them and you talking now. Perfect. Here we have the Rune Rager Swarm and that truce blocking out. Both players playing truce, funnily enough. And both truces being blocked with.
Kind of a fun card.
Oh, here's a Bramble Spark.
But it's a blue 3-block Bramble Spark with the fusion from Germany.
So we're going to see a big attack coming out here. I have to assume. There's the pitch. Are we getting a decompose on this? And there is the plow under.
Plow under.
Now it's kind of safe to play the plow under here just as a big attack. There's no arsenal still. Tom has not arsenal occurred in what feels like 18 years. So we're just going to come in for 9 damage with no decompose here. And that, yeah, again, does make sense as to why Tom would choose not to, Trevor chose not to play the plow under in the previous turn, really kind of hoping that Tom would arsenal a card, but Tom's just not giving it up to him. Oh.
They shelter from the storm. And an Oasis Respite.
This is still coming in for 9 damage, but Tom does gain the 1, so the life total functionally doesn't change there. But, you know, you took 3 cards out of Tom with that turn, so you're probably okay with that.
Tom does gain the 1. Reaping Blade has no impact there. Another, yeah. I don't think Tom has missed a tunic trigger. I'm really impressed.
I would have definitely missed like 4 by now. There's been, I think, 4 turns. Oh, 6 turns.
4 6 turns. Tunic set, 3 for the second time.
And we can count this because he has not missed a trigger.
He has not missed a trigger.
I can't remember what that card is called, but it does defend for 2, so Anathos does sneak in for 2 damage there. And
I feel like I'm like inches from my screen right now trying to see what that is. Another Bramble Spark, and we're fusing with
the same card.
that same card.
It's the one that comes in for 8 with Decompose. Cadaverous Tilling, there we go.
Cadaverous Tilling.
And we are getting the Decompose. The Florian should be online now, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe we are turned on, yeah.
And using these nice clear big dice for us to see, coming in for 11 damage. An absolutely huge number coming in here. Florian proving that he's trying to be the Guardian player in this one, that he can hit harder. We have a Tear Asunder being defended with, and another beautiful British Sink Below.
Again with the beautiful, like, just these decks are beautiful, yeah.
Really putting me to shame here.
Seem to have.
And there's a Sigil, just for...
And the
just
Sigil.
Because, you know? Gonna gain 3 life here.
It's for good measure. Gain 3 life, still low enough though to not feel the impacts from Reaping Blade, even after the life gain. You could do it one more time actually and still be safe.
You know, I want to say he's doing a good job of playing around this Reaping Blade, but I'm sure Tom would be much happier if his life total was not lower right now.
right.
Playing around the Reaping Blade by getting hit in the face.
It looks like we're just gonna have a tunic trigger and a arsenal and pass.
And we're getting that grasp, and here we're getting the double rune chant action. I'm lying to you? No, he's using a dice to represent multiple rune chants. Okay.
I'm lying to you? Never.
And a Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer. Beautiful altar Command and Conquer again.
I think this is the first time I've noticed Tom have an arsenal in a very long time, and Trevor immediately draws the Command and Conquer. Like,
yeah, that is very unfortunate. Yeah.
Fate is smiling upon him. Tom's like, okay, I predicted that Plow Under, I can finally arsenal safely, and immediately this happens. Trevor pointing out that he needs to prevent the arcane damage first, but Tom seems like he's going to prevent it anyway. And, you know, it's a little bit of missequencing, but ultimately no harm, no foul. Players both understand. And this Command and Conquer, once again, taking 3 cards out of Tom. This seems to be Trevor's game plan right now. Just take 3 cards out of Tom. Trevor gets to arsenal here. Potentially. I did.
Potentially.
That's because I turned off the audio, so I can't actually hear what they're saying anymore. But there we go. There's the arsenal. And a Seismic Surge token cracks.
Seismic Surge.
And we're pitching a blue to come in with Anathos. So Psychic Surge having no effect there, just coming in for another 4 damage. All part of the Bravo game plan.
Yep, all reliable. I mean, you can't beat this.
You can defend it with a Shelter from the Storm, however.
Yeah, unless you have a Shelter from the Storm.
Turns out you can, in fact, beat that. And
Yeah, Shelter from the Storm.
Trevor gets to keep 4 cards in hand. I like how Trevor is not afraid to use his defense reaction on the weapon here. He's not trying to sandbag one for a bigger attack later on. He's just very content to be like, hey, I'm going to get 4 value. When I can get 4 value, I'm going to make 2 rune shots, and I'm going to come in with something big, most likely. Swarming Gloomveil.
Swarming Gloomveil.
I love this card
Oh,
here. So
I love this card too.
this one is coming in. It's got 2 modes triggered because 2 auras were made this turn. So it's coming in for 4 damage with Go again. And once again, another Shelter from the Storm. Kind of just trying to prevent all that damage. And we've got a Reaping Blade for 1. Oh, not for 1, for 3 here. Using that last resource. Super efficient 2-card hand. But Trevor has kind of left himself with 2 cards here. And once again, playing around that Reaping Blade by getting hit in the face, we get to play the Sigil of Solace now. This maybe suggests that Trevor has more defense reactions as well. The fact that he was happy to use one to stop an Anathos and had multiple cards in hand. Both these players just going heavy on the 0 for 4 defensive cards. And speaking of going heavy, here's an Anathos for 6.
Woohoo.
Of course, Tom could have chosen to just come in for 4 here. Oh, wait, is it for 6? Yeah. Tom could have just chosen to come in for 4 here and arsenal one of these cards instead. But I don't think either of these cards are something he wants to be arsenaling. Like a blue 6 cost power may as well be the weapon. And another Imposing Visage, hitting the pitch stack.
There is the sync below from Pro Tour London. We do see a sync from Trevor's side, so maybe a little bit of trying to fix a hand here.
Yeah.
Trevor did effectively IP himself after his last turn, so
Yeah. And I think he did draw, I think I got a glimpse of his hand, and he did draw more defense reactions. I believe there's the there's the Carapace in hand. Fruitbound Carapace.
Yeah,
there we go. And we're not going to see the Decompose there. We are going to see an Earth card hit the bin for more Decomposing in the future. Moving on back to Trevor now, looking at the 2 cards in hand. He was possibly trying to dig for a blue card here. And I assume that's the case, and he's got another defense reaction in hand because we are just coming in with a Reaping Blade for 3. There was no rune chance made this turn. And Tom choosing to just accept that, move on, and once again we get that IP on Trevor's side. But he's also not taking any damage, so I guess maybe he's okay with just blocking out, not getting hit, and chipping away slowly.
This might be a time where Tom can throw something a little more powerful. It does look like we're seeing a Bravo activation.
Yep.
Not a missed Tunic trigger in sight again, and the Spinal Crush.
I think if you're Tom, you have to go for it here, but you have to assume that there's a defense reaction somewhere around Trevor's board.
Right.
Just because of how this game's played. Tom also has 1 card in hand. Oh no, you can't. I was gonna say this could be the Face Purgatory turn, but it's definitely not the Face Purgatory turn because of the Dominate. Trevor just deciding how he wants to block. There's 2 with a Grasp of the Arknight. Excuse me. And there's a Shelter for 4, so we're at 6. Maybe Trevor is content with just turning off the Crush ability there, taking 3 damage, keeping 3 cards in hand. And now we're going to see a big swing back, surely. I do see the Arcane Seeds, one of my favorite cards in this deck, because 4 rune chance is just a heck of a lot of rune chance to deal with at this point in the game. He wants to turn that card sideways. I see it in his body language. Oh, of course, yeah, we're pitching for the grasp first, getting 2 rune chance. And then we're getting 4 more. We are not getting 4 more just yet. We're getting the Rune Rager Swarm, another go again attack.
Rune Ragers.
This is my favorite style, Florian. Like, I love Rune Rager Swarm and Swarming Gloomveil. Just kind of going on this mid-range aggro-ish plan. 2 arcane damage coming through. Sink below in the Rune Rager Swarm, nullifying some of its value. And I wonder if Tom's going to be sad that he didn't. Oh, no, we're pitching that for a Command and Conquer.
Oh, again, when
Tom has an
finally
arsenal.
has an arsenal again. I mean, I guess that's how the Command and Conquers are supposed to be used, but it is. It's got to feel a little bit bad.
Now, Tom may have correctly called that, funnily enough. Using the defense reaction on the Swarming Gloomveil usually feels like bad value, but he's kept 2 actions to cleanly block the Command and Conquer with 2 cards, and still have something left over to attack with the Anathos here. So it looks like he might have had the correct read on there, and
Yeah.
we were wrong, or at least I was wrong about defense reaction being the arsenal, so, you know, this is why Tom's a competitor, and I'm a commentator.
Shut down that what would have been a really powerful, or was a really powerful turn from Trevor really efficiently because of the read there.
Exactly.
Quite impressive, yeah.
It's really just as simple as if he chose to block with the action there, he would have to block with that Cranial Crush, and I'd had to do the hand motion there, the Cranial Crush in the pitch zone. And then he would just have the sink below here to attack with Anathos. So no, he had the correct read. Truce is flying left and right, but not staying on the field other than being blocked with. The Truce that Tom blocked with in the previous turn
block.
was the full art as well. Just, you know.
Oh, I see that, yeah, right on top of the graveyard.
You know, we gotta respect their game. And by game, I mean their, like, aesthetics.
The drip.
Their drip.
Yeah. Yeah. Respect the drip.
You think other commentators in this league are going to talk about, like, the player's drip? Probably. They might not word it the same, though.
I don't know. They're probably not also gonna say millennial drip.
And here we go, Arcane Seeds. We're getting 6 rune chants here. Tom better have some blues if he wants to prevent some of this arcane damage. There's still 2 floating. Oh, sorry, 1 floating. And Trevor deciding if he wants to... Well, I guess he actually can't play the card in hand, so I guess it's probably just going to be a sword swing and just a cheeky 9 damage turn. Oh, no. Trevor chooses not to attack there instead. Wants an even bigger turn next turn. Probably going to try to block out, but you are giving Bravo a 5-card hand here. We could see a Bravo activation. We do see a Bravo activation. No, I'm lying to you. That's Command and Conquer.
Oh, no, it's just Command and Conquer. So he's whatever card you wanted so bad in your arsenal, you have to give it up now.
But Tom is showing he has 1 card left in hand, 1 card in arsenal. He is bluffing the pummel right now. Or he's presenting...
Is bluffing the pummel.
He's suggesting there's a pummel.
Threatening pummel.
And this is like a spot where the well-grounded could have come in really useful here. Because you could either disrespect or present no blocks, but here we're defending for only 4 with the Haunting rendition. And he's happy to let the arsenal go. He's like, do you have the pummel? Still?
Ooh.
Like, this is the kind of way he's hedging his bets. He sees that he has a hand that he wants to play. Oh, he's not defending with the Haunting rendition. He's using the
discarding
effect.
to create rune chance. The instant effect, yeah.
So he's actually taking 4 that turn. Tom choosing not to use their weight of his hand, or maybe not being able to, but only draws 3 cards. And here we're getting another arcane. This is absurd.
Oh my gosh, this is absurd. This is OTK. This is absurd.
We're looking at 12 rune chants here, and I think that's a
He's
plow
going
under.
Yeah.
Finally getting rid of
a
that
million
arsenal card
damage.
there. getting rid of the arsenal. Trevor happy to lose his own arsenal, knowing that he's going to play a plow under. And there's 3 cards to prevent 9 of the 12 arcane damage. But, that's still 3 arcane damage coming through after 3 blues being pitched, followed by 6 damage.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another sink below.
Oh, the sink below. No sink, obviously. No cards left in hand.
And both players starting afresh with 4 cards each. Back to Trevor's turn. But with Trevor having 9 additional points of life. And of course, 1 more tuning tick.
We still have some equipment block left in the game, though. I think that's important to point out.
100%. We still have the Crown of Providence on Tom's side and the Quick Dodge Flexors on a turn where he might need to block arcane damage and block with equipment. And we still have Face Purgatory on Trevor's side.
Face Purgatory can, when used effectively, that card is so good.
And he hasn't found the window to use it yet because of the Dominate, and the Dominate will make it hard, but it also is just to defend 2 equipment at worst, right?
Right.
Which is not a bad thing. And we are adding the life totals to the combat chain here. It looks like we're just trying to confirm some life totals real quick. Conveniently for us, what we're seeing is as having done all the work already, so we know that's 1423.
Okay, yeah, 1423. There we go.
But will it stay 1423 with 5 damage coming through? I just noticed that this was a triple red pitch turn for Trevor. So he's had a couple of these all red or mainly red hands, but he's managed to work through it regardless, nonetheless, through the fact that he's been able to block so much damage as well as apply so much pressure. He is firmly in the driver's seat here.
Tom took all 5 damage, going down to the 9 life, while Trevor is still sitting pretty comfortably at 23. So we're expecting to see.
Here's the Dominate. This could be a Crippling Crush. I imagine this Crippling Crush is the only card you're keeping this hand for. That's not a Crippling Crush. That is a red Chokeslam. Coming in for 8 and saying that attack actions cannot gain attack during their next action phase should this crush. And of course, many, or 2 of the key cards in Trevor's deck are Plow Under and Felling of the Crown. We have seen a few copies of them now. But, Felling of the Crown is absolutely backbreaking when you're this far back. So this Chokeslam, potentially doing some preventative work here and changing Trevor's line. It looks like Trevor does want to turn off this crush, though. That looks like a block card in his hand that he's considering. Now he's thinking about it again. Looks like he's uncommitting that arm piece.
Uncommitting.
The player's having a little chat here, but I turned off the audio, so I don't know what they're saying. Haunting Rendition, is this being discarded or defended with? We're drawing circles around Florian's feet.
Yeah, perhaps you're thinking about it. Yeah, it looks like it's being defended with, and the root bound carapace. So,
and him realizing that he can take 1 damage here. He doesn't need to shut off all 8 damage. That's okay.
Probably why we saw, the.
Oh no, he did defend it. He
uncommitted
did discard
from
it. Sorry,
above.
so he's taking 3 damage here to make 2 rune shots. And you know what? Considering how
Seems like a fair trade-off.
he takes a couple more points of damage, but he is the aggressor here, so I think he's happy to make 2 more rune shots and just keep on applying pressure to Tom's hand and life total. Speaking of applying pressure, this is an Enlightened Strike. Let's wait and see what the mode selected is here. I have to imagine this is the go again. It could also be 7. 7 is also reasonable. But here's the Crown of Profit. Oh, it is the 5 go again. There we go. So this heavily suggests that there is a blue in hand for Trevor to then move on in with the Grasp of the Arknight and the sword for another 5 damage. Combat chain is closing. 1 point of damage snuck through. And here we go. Another 5 points of damage coming through, which is a huge amount of life to be taking. Arcane damage not prevented. Another out muscle being blocked with here.
Oh, and the Sigil of Solace.
And the Sigil of Solace. So, yes, he took 2 points of damage from... 1 point of damage from the sword and then gained 3 to go back up to 8. And once again, he does get to have an arsenal. For now.
Unless this is another Command and Conquer. But
Or Plowon.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Now, I did notice a Summer's Fall in the hand. We're getting the Grasp of the Arknight activation. There was a Command and Conquer.
There was a Command and Conquer.
But it looks like we're getting huge Oath of the Arknight coming
Oath of
in
the
to make
Arknight.
2 more rune chants with the hero ability and also giving the next rune blade attack plus 1, I think, for the blue is what the image is suggesting to us. So 4 and 4. You know, who needs Command and Conquer when you can attack for 4 and 4?
When your opponent is at 8 life, that's pretty good.
And, like, you know, you could argue the Command and Conquer is more value on the physical front, but also just being able to force blues out of your opponent's hand with the arcane damage is kind of where you want to be. Like, you give your opponent less options in that respect, forcing them to lose resources.
Seeing the Tunic committed there, 2 full block that turn. And Athos, just
for 4. You know, he saw Trevor's weapon attacking for 4, and he was like, I want to do that too, you know? And Trevor looks more than happy to just take this and keep his whole hand to come back the next turn. Looks like there's a Cadaverous Telling in his hand and an E-Strike.
yeah, definitely. I see the E-Strike. Yeah, I see the Cadaverous Tilling as well.
Or is that an Autumn's Fall?
Um,
Or Autumn's Touch, rather.
I believe it's a Cadaverous Tilling. I think. I'm willing to be wrong.
Well, there's a talisman of something I don't recall, but it's a blue, which is the most important. Using the Grasp of the Arknight, once again, making 2 rune chants. And what are we getting here? So if you E-Strike with Go again, you don't have the resources to use the hands again. So it looks like we're going for another 4 and 4 line.
It's the Oath of the... Okay.
And we're going to Arsenal this E-Strike.
It was the Autumn's Touch, not the Cadaverous.
Right. I just put the wrong ideas in your head. I'm sorry. That's on me.
It's okay.
And Trevor once again choosing not to attack, not to keep the pressure up, and instead trying to go for the kill next turn with that E-Strike and Arsenal. But here we go.
Hey, Bravo activation on 8. Whoa, this is a big card.
But there's still a huge fridge on Trevor's side. This is 11 damage. Like, the fridge alone stops 5 of that, not including any bonus effects that the chess piece has from making 2 earth embodiments. And he's got a truce to block with, so that truce is going to block for 5 by itself. He's just realizing that he still does need to give up a little bit more equipment to make sure that the crush does not happen. But he's got the 3 from his equipment there, the 5 from the truce will make that 8. And turning off the crush. He hasn't actually pulled out the earth embodiment tokens yet. Oh, there we go. I was going to say, like, surely they've verbalized it at the very least. And once again, happy to take the 3 damage and keep access to 4 cards this turn. He's still in the driver's seat as of this point.
Yeah, as of this point, Tom is doing a good job of trying to close in the life totals here, just effectively blocking out Trevor's turns. And, I mean, been swinging back with Anathos, but Crippling Crush dominated as a massive turn.
Oh, for sure.
We do have the Easter egg from the Arsenal that we saw.
So, this is surely the go again mode, once again with those 2 cards in hand. So, there's prevention of the 4 arcane, 2 arcane damage, 2 arcane barrier. I'm lying. 2 resources remaining for arcane barrier should the grass be activated, is what I was trying to say. But 2 damage still coming through here. Taking him down to 6. And, like, Trevor could swing with a weapon here, or now knowing that there's 2 floating, might choose to pitch a card to play a felling. Oh, I think that's the game.
Felling.
Unless there's a defense reaction in Arsenal, like, Tom can choose to use the quick dodge flexors to prevent 2. Yeah. And then still take 6. That is the game. Tom showing that he had another Crippling Crush in hand.
Crippling Crush in the Arsenal. Yeah, if it was something, maybe like a staunch response, it would have been okay, but...
Yeah. So, what a game. It seems that, like, Tom kind of had control of that game for most of it. Sorry, Tom? I've gotten the names confused already. Trevor had the game for most of that. Tom was kind of on the back foot, was kind of happy to block out for the most part and try to find those key points. But wasn't really able to find the Crippling Crushes in time or the spots too. And every time that Trevor gave him the opportunity to, Trevor was kind of more content to... was confident that he could block that out and still present a big turn.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a really good game. A lot of back and forth. Although we saw Trevor kind of in the driver's seat a lot of the game, I think that Tom did a really good job. Like, as you said, just like blocking out, staying calm. Yeah. keeping the game going, and doing the best. I think he played his side really well.
I'd like to kind of emphasize that turn where he defended the Rune Rager Swarm with the defense reaction, knowing that he needed the blues in hand should he need to block the 2 cards next turn. Specifically at Command and Conquer, that was a fantastic read on his part, so...
Yeah.
Well done to both players. That was it for this game of round 1 of the League That Means Nothing here on Go Again Gaming. I've been Kiki with Elaine, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.